Yes, good morning students. Warm welcome to one and all. Let's move on to the next day for another fantastic lecture on gender sensitization on the second day of the induction program 23-24. So it's my pleasure to introduce the speaker of today's session, Sri Sudhendra Bagayat Garu, onto the stage. Dear students, I take pleasure to introduce Sir to all of you. Sudhendra Bagayat Garu is a human engineer. He is a qualified electrical and electronics engineer with passion for training and developing people and their potential. He has over 16 years of experience in learning and development. He has learned, trained himself, and achieved expertise in using 15 different psychometric assessments and experimental learning using activities both indoor and outbound. He is a transactional analyst, psychometrician, and a lifelong learner. He has attended many training programs to develop himself personally and professionally. So he has a domain expertise in presentation skills, outbound training, coaching and mentoring, behavioral, stress interviewing, awareness-based leadership training, and so on. And he has got many certifications to himself. He is a certified psychometrician with Oscar Murphy Life Strategist, Insight, InColor, and Hogan assessments, certified NLP practitioner, experiential education practitioner, transactional analyst, behavioral training and developmental professional from Oscar Murphy Life Strategist, associate certified coach from International Coach Federation, USA. And he has a professional experience with some of the best corporate houses in India like Google, PepsiCo, Oracle, Cerner, Hetero Drugs, Aurobindo, JP Morgan, Tata Business Support, Malabar Gold and Diamonds, Zenser Technologies, Indian Railways, Capitizers, and much more than this. He's got 1,000 plus training programs to his achievements. He's trained many engineering faculties and teachers on effective teaching methodologies, designed, delivered, and co-facilitated many train-the-trainer programs. Sir, it's an honor for us to have you here, and I request Sir to enlighten the students with his valuable information. I request Sir to take over the session.
Thank you, ma'am. Good morning, everyone. Very, very unenergetic, unenthusiastic one. Let's try it again. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good, but I can't hear people from the back. Usually the back benches are loudest. Are we not? Okay. Can you guys hear me? No? Okay. I'm used to walking around and, share, but I guess I'm confined to the mic here. Okay. So I've been told that you guys are fresh out of intermediate and, the future engineers of this country. How many of you have joined engineering to become an engineer for yourself? Not for your mom, not for your dad, not for your friends, but you joined engineering because you wanted to become an engineer. Good, and there is nothing wrong if you joined engineering because of pressure. Trust me, I'm there. I also joined because of pressure. And that's why you see that I've digressed from, the path and chose psychology as my livelihood, right? So having said that, I just want to understand one question, one answer from you guys. What is your understanding of this word gender? You have heard this word gender before? Yes? How many of you are hearing the word for the first time? Oh, thank God. Okay. So, what is your understanding of this word gender? How will you define it? Go on, there is nothing wrong or right. We are all learning. What is gender according to you? Do they have mobiles here? Or they have mobiles here? Oh, please use your mobiles then. Google it. I know you're that generation. It's okay. Google, and if somebody can help me understand what is your definition of gender. Okay. Okay. So if you Google it, one of the definition that pops up is the bifurcation based on the biological construct. Right? But the question is, do we have only two genders? Okay, how many of you strongly believe there are only two genders? And how many of you disagree and say there are more genders? Great. Thank you. So unfortunately, the reality is there are more than two genders. In the nature itself, you will find more than two genders. Not just in the human species, but in the animal species also. You will find a third gender. Right? And there is nothing wrong with them. It's just how nature has created them. Even in the human beings, we find them. Don't we? Yes, no? No? So you have never come across the third genders on the streets? Many a times. And mind you, they are also humans. They have the same rights that you have. They have the same blood that is coursing through our veins. The construct is the same. So why should they be treated any different? Just because the nature could not decide whether to make them male or female? Right? Now, this is natural, right? I'm talking about the third gender from a biological standpoint. But there is another construct which is psychological in nature. A man feeling like a woman trapped in a man's body, or a woman feeling like a man trapped in a woman's body. Right? And mind you, this is not a new thing. This is an age-old knowledge. And this is even mentioned in the so-called epics. Anybody heard of Mahabharata? Yes? Anybody knows the story of Arjuna? What happens to him in the 13th year of his exile? He has to become an Enoch or Inach, whatever you want to call it, which is neither a male nor a female. There are many stories around that. One of the stories say that he was cursed by one of the celestial beings, Apsara or whatever. But the fact of the matter is he lived in disguise as an Enoch. Right? So it's not new to us. And there is nothing wrong with them. But yeah, so that's about the gender. But why am I talking about it? Why should you hear or learn about it? Is it important? Yes, no? Okay. How many of you disagree that I don't have to know about all this? I mean, it's disgusting. Feel free. I don't want to know about this. Oh, don't worry. None of you will be targeted, or your teachers, lecturers, nobody will do anything about it. It's your personal opinion, you are entitled to it. Anyone? Okay, let me tell you what. If you think that you don't have to know about it, you are living in denial. You are denying what exists. It's not good. Okay? So, I will stop here for now, and I would like to know if you have anything to, ask, question, or any counter statements that you want to make about your belief. You're welcome. I'd like to keep it, interactive. So I'll stop here, and I'll hand over the mic to anybody who wants it. Okay, not working. Any questions or any counter statements? No? Sir, you can answer. Just you. No. So I have a reference for you from the, to answer your question. Okay. So this is a ruling by the Supreme Court of India. Okay. That's a piece of the entire judgment. Can you please read that for me where it is highlighted?
This was a landmark decision where the apex court legally recognized third gender, transgender persons for the first time and discussed gender.
Go on, go on. Sir?
This was a landmark decision where the apex court legally recognized third gender or transgender persons for the first time and discussed gender identity at length. The court recognized that third gender persons were entitled to fundamental rights under the Constitution and under international law.
Thank you. Does that answer your question? Thank you. Okay.
Good morning. Good morning, sir.
Guys, I don't understand what this hooting is for. If you are excited that a girl has come to the stage and talking and asking questions, great job. But my concern is that you guys are not coming up. Yeah, go on.
Hello, guys. My name is Yogita Singh. So we all agree that LGBTQ do exist. But if a guy feels like if he's a gay or not, if he's puzzled, so can we provide him some therapy classes and make his mindset in such a way that he'll be reluctant to it? That no more LGBTQs. It's not really like I don't support it, but I feel like we can avoid it if we can. And if we can't, then we should treat them equally.
Okay. Thank you for that question. I would want to ask you, why therapy? Why should I provide therapy to a person who already feels that that person is not interested in women but they are interested in men? Isn't that good for you? One person less behind you. Go on.
It's a bit awkward, right? If we are a female, then we should behave like a girl. If we are a male, then we should behave like a male. But it's like there are so many things which contrast it, like our genes, whatever it is. I'm not a biology student, but I feel like if there is a way, can we avoid it?
So, I'm going to repeat what you just said, reiterating it, okay? So, if I have been given the body of a male, I have to, I must, and I should behave like a male. Who made this mandatory? Who made this mandatory that if I have a body of a male or if I have the body of a female, I have to behave like one? Who made this mandatory and who is the ruling authority here? Can we point to one person?
There may be the society,
Who is society?
so-called Indian society.
So who is Indian society? You are Indian society. So you are telling me that if I have the body of a male, I have to behave like a male. You do not accept me.
It's not like accepting it, but in our Indian society, they look these people like if he is a gay or a lesbo, they see them with disgusted face. They don't really accept it
Why? Why do you think they look at them with a disgusted face?
because of our mindset, our mentality. If in this crowd, if one of them is a gay, we won't treat them like wives. Like we have to. They deserve much better treatment which they don't really get.
Hence, gender sensitization. Why? Because, okay, now this will take me to the history of India, okay, and I'm not against, okay, and I'm not pro or against anything. However, this is a fact that since since 1000 AD, India, what we know of today, has been invaded by two different colonizing forces, which is a fact. Yes, no? Yes? So, what happened before that? And what happened during that? Please understand this. Even when the Islamic people invaded India and established their rule, they were not against the third gender community, but it was under the British rule, especially in the 1950s, which the British rule, if you have read history, if you are aware of, not the textbook history, I'm definitely against it, but when you are looking at the history which is being researched, documented history is what I'm talking about. When you look at that, Britishers' goal was to break India, which they successfully did with various different methods. One of them was to exclude this entire community and criminalize them. Divide and rule, right? So if you go in, if you visit any strong Christian nation, right? There, if anybody is gay, anybody is lesbian, they treat them like a disease. That's a fact. They are treated like a disease, and the thing that you're talking about, we can treat them with therapy and all that, is what has led them to revolt against others, telling, why are you treating me like a disease? If I was a disease, if I was an abnormality, then the nature would not have allowed me. See, there is no, okay, we have two approach to this, okay? Third gender exists. Can we agree on that? Yes? We have two approaches to that. One, eradicate them. Two, include them. What do you want to do? We should include them. Now, when I want to include somebody and I want them to be included on after a certain procedure, or after a certain, only if they meet a certain condition, am I actually including them? No. Simple as that. Does that answer your question? Yeah? Okay. I have two more girls. Thank you.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
And good morning, everyone. So, I want to ask you something. When it comes to transgender psychology and everything, so I want to ask you something. That I'm an 18-year-old woman. I feel like a 25-year-old woman.
Okay.
Why can't I start drinking?
We.
And one more.
Okay. Okay.
So, what about the women's spaces? Transgender men, they get, they do the sex change operations, and they claim themselves as women. But they have the same lung capacity. More than women.
Okay.
Women has fought a lot of things. For sports, for jobs,
Okay.
for right for voting and everything.
Okay.
Why would they invade our privacy? Like, that's a woman. Like, the space is for women.
Okay.
It was supposed to be there for us, not transgenders.
Okay. So, again, the first question is more of a legal question. You are 18 years, but you feel like 25, why can't I drink? But that's for a lawyer to answer. Okay. However, what I know of drinking, from the experiences shared by medical people or my friends, is that it is quite addictive. One. And the reason why they have, oh, trust me, by the way, for your kind information, the legal age for drinking in some countries is 16, 15, 14 also. Okay? So, you have one option, which you know of. However, what happens to a young brain, which is still under formation, when you start drinking, is that it starts getting deformed biologically. Okay? Our brains have something called neuroplasticity. We are aware of elasticity, right? Yes? So, that is something which is in terms of behavior. You and I can learn new behavior, you and I can forget old patterns if we want to. But when our brains start getting addicted, it affects us biologically. Not just the brain, but the entire body. So what is addiction? What happens when you talk about addiction is that your brain releases dopamine along with other chemicals. And this dopamine is what causes the addiction. Okay? So when you have, let's say, 160 or 90 ml of whiskey or whatever, you get a high. Okay? Over a period of time, that 60 or 90 ml is not sufficient for you to get further high, or the same amount of high if it can be measured, right? So what you do is you start drinking more, right? Now, how is alcohol made or produced? What is the process? Fermentation, or basically उसको सड़ा के बनाते हैं. Anything that is raw, basically if it's any food item or vegetable, if it is made from grapes also, it happens only after the grape is decomposed. So what you're drinking is basically a decomposed version of a grapes, if it is wine. So likewise, when this fermentation process gets stronger, goes on longer and longer, it is releasing, or it is breaking down the elements into fundamental products, and it is recombining them, right? So these recombination or recombined products are not promoting human health. They are responsible for deterioration of our internal major organs. That is the reason why, legally they have said 18 years तक तो छोड़ दो, उसके बाद अपनी मर्जी. You want to kill yourself, go ahead, but at least live for 18 years, right? Also, from a neuroscience point of view, when you attain 18 years in general, I'm not saying that everybody has this, but once you attain 18 years, there is a part of your brain, something called prefrontal cortex, okay, that gets formed fully. Now, what is the use of this prefrontal cortex is, or its function is, it helps you think, it helps you decide, it helps you use logic, it helps you understand or weigh the pros and cons. So before 18 years of age, when you start drinking, this prefrontal cortex does not form properly, and it affects our judgment. So that's the first answer. Any questions, any follow-up questions on that? Any follow-up questions on this part? Okay.
The second question is, why
Yeah.
trans men regimen?
Yeah. I'm coming to that. I'm coming to that. Yeah. So, why should we allow, a female should allow a transgender or a man who has gotten the sex change operation done, which is a reality again, to be allowed in various fields, especially sports? You are a sports person? No. Okay. So they have good lung capacity. ठीक है? I mean, we do not know yet what are the biological changes that happens within that man or ex-man after this operation happens. So you are assuming that their lung capacity will still remain good. Any research that you have, any paper that you have to support your claim? That also deteriorates, because the very process of operation involves introducing the enzymes, the hormones which are present in the female body for for a certain duration of time, okay, along with other chemicals. Now, once those female hormones, the chemicals inside the female body are accepted by this patient, how do you think that it will still remain as a male? And this process on a chemical level is relatively new. Okay, unless and until the person is born biologically as unique, then that's a different case. They might have been strong, but again, there are many exceptions where they are not strong at all.
So all these Western people, they run and yeah, they're right.
Mm-hmm.
Then why are they involving kids? Why are they getting involved? They're like they're influencing kids into the LGBTQ, and that is not good.
When you say influencing kids, can you please verify, or can you please
Every minor will get influenced by social media, by gender equality, anything.
Mhm.
But we know nothing.
Mhm.
Okay? And
Mhm.
these people, these LGBT people, are involving kids in their lives, and that is not good. Why
Okay.
would you like if a girl, if it says she's a girl, then she's a girl.
Yes,
Why
definitely.
would you put her in a condition that I'm not a girl?
Okay.
I'm bisexual, I identify as a non-binary, that is not good.
Okay. Uh, there are pros and cons to everything. I don't deny that. But however, I don't know how many people or how many girls would get confused with their identity because of participating in a rally. Yeah. So how many men and how many females or women or girls get confused about their identity just by participating in a rally? The way I look at it is, it creates more awareness about them. It creates more awareness about their identity from a gender perspective. But if you have any solid research done as to, just because by participating in rallies, so many boys or girls got confused about their gender, I am welcome to, accept that. So if there is any hard found data on that, we can certainly accept that. That, okay, we need to stop these rallies and which include children.
You said that gender equality, then they're different. You know, transgender people, it's connected different sports for them. Why would you involve
Transgenders are not asking to be recognized as women. How many?
completely going on in America and Western countries?
Okay. So I have not come across any news article regarding that. So if you have any reference, please do share. I will read about that. However, my understanding is that in India, at least, in India or abroad, the very challenge is that they are asking to be recognized and to be on par with everyone. That is my understanding. If there has been any, major news or major legal, debates, please feel free to share. I may have missed that. Any confirmed data on that, or is this your assumption? Okay, please do share that. And what is the credibility of the articles? Who wrote them? So if it is an article written by like you or me, I am just stating my opinion. If it does not have well researched base, then it is only an opinion which is being pushed down people. And on internet, there are many people who will take that as news. Yeah? Sure. Good morning.
Sir, what is the sister show?
Uh-huh.
That is,
Male and female.
they're equal, right?
Mhm.
Then why is there girl reservation in everything like jobs and even in sex?
Mhm.
There's girl reservation, right? Why is it?
Okay. So, before I answer that question, I would like to understand from your perspective, what is your knowledge about the history of this reservation? Where did it come from?
Girls used to do only homework.
Oh, no. I'm not talking about girls' reservation. My question is, what is your knowledge about the history of this concept of reservation? No? Okay. So for your information, this concept of reservation was another tool introduced by the British to divide and rule. It starts off as a language-based, as a religion-based, as a caste-based reservation for political agenda. Good question. Now, let's say I will want to remove the reservation. Are you against or pro? You are against? Ask how many would want that reservation to be removed here. Okay? Guys, not for you. The question is about girls' reservation. See? You have the answer there. Very few. So, please understand, the reservation per se, okay, originally was a divide and rule. And we are still, even after 70 years, following the British policies. The constitution that we have adopted is not the Indian one. We have simply modified a few here and there from the British constitution. The original British constitution was designed to uplift their interest and stamp on our interest.
Then why do Microsoft and Google and they consider this?
Ask them. I don't know.
But the genders are equal, right? Boys and girls should be equal.
See, please understand this. You and I are unique. You and I can or cannot be equal. If you and I are equal, I also should be able to reproduce. Yes, no? Can I? No. Simple as that. You and I are unique. The gender is unique. But what the basis of all this can be tracked back to the colonial times, when these people wanted to sow the seeds of conflicts so that nobody touches them. They will fight among themselves, and they will ask for help. That's how the history of India tells us, right? So right now, because of this reservation, isn't these two genders fighting here? No? Male and female, because of female reservations?
No, but at least boys use right to. Okay, almost half of the boys were right.
See, the concept of reservation or the history of reservation or what it does clearly has shown us, right? It is from the colonial times. And we have not even bothered to remove that. We have not removed that because the politicians found it convenient for their voting banks, right? So now we are questioning it, okay? So probably maybe in the next 10, 15 years, if people start thinking like you, the reservations may go off. Not just, reservation for girls, probably for everyone, right? One of the things that happened as a result of the colonial or the British Raj is that females were getting discriminated. Okay? The female population was getting oppressed thanks to the corrupt people who were in power. But are they still in power? Are we still giving them the power is the question. And if we don't want them to be in power, then remove all this. But it is not in their benefit. Hence, they will still keep that. Yeah?
And
Did-
why gays are considered as God?
Great, awesome. So Indian, or rather, the Indian, when I use the word Indian, I'm talking from the name given by the British, but if I consider the original name, which is Bharat, the tradition here is that of inclusion and diversity. Okay? Tell me one country in the entire world which has so many different languages, cultures, traditions, and still holding together for centuries. America?
Because many people from all the
So all the Americans follow different religions? No, they all follow Christianity. But in India, we have Sikhism which developed here, we have Buddhism which developed here, we have Jainism which developed here, right? And in spite of that, we have so many innumerable traditions and customs which change from every village. That is the kind of diversity we are talking about, right? Here, every animal is also considered as sacred. Dogs, they say that dog is the vehicle of Bhairava, who is a Shiva's avatar, right? Or if anybody knows the Tatriya, they consider his vehicles, right? So this has been a land where we have dived very deep into the concept of understanding what equality means, what respect means, and what is actually life in itself. Hence, even a gay was considered as a god. Why? Because when you assign anything to God, people either are afraid or start respecting that identity. Hence, they were equated with God. Yeah? Thank you. Great questions, guys. Any other question that you have on mind? Yes, please. No, that's okay. Yeah, yeah.
Good morning, sir. Our society discriminates boys and girls in many aspects. My question is, why girls are married earlier than boys? There's certain age for girls, but not for boys. Why?
Okay. So, if you have to look at society, okay, then you have to trace back the history of that society also. Any problem will have its roots. Okay? So please understand, where did this come into picture from? We have been a country who has been under invasion for about 800 to 1000 years. Documented history, right? So what happens when an invasion occurs? When somebody else comes to your house, do they, consider it as their own, and do they take care of it like you do, or do they take it for granted? A stranger, a complete stranger, maybe say from outside of the entire country, comes to your home. Okay, they come and occupy your house. Will they respect your house as you do, or will they treat it like an object? They will treat it like an object. They won't respect anything, right? Because they have gained a certain power and you are not able to throw them out. Yes? So when that happens, what will you do? You will get into a protective mode. Okay? Please understand, the foundation of any society is women. Okay? So one of the measures that our ancestors took to protect women Maybe they saw that, the unmarried girls were getting kidnapped or probably dragged. Hence, they started getting them married early. Unfortunately, it has come to stick for very long time. And, it's been like what? About 10 to 15 generations since this has happened. So, it's a long time for a tradition or a culture to, be reversed or taken away or changed. So it takes time for anything to be changed. And that's what is this all effort is about. Yeah? Thank you. Okay. So all the questions that you have asked is a sample or part of what we call as sensitization. Right? So what is basically sensitization is about understanding things from the other person's perspective and having empathy for it. Right? And that includes the personal attitudes, beliefs, and questioning the realities, the so-called realities which has been taught to us either by our parents or by the community or the religion itself. Okay? So all these play a very major part in shaping our thought processes. Right? Which faith do I believe in, or what faith my parents believe in, or what community I come from. All of this shapes how I think, what is my personal attitude, and how I behave towards the other person. Right? It could be a gender, it could be a person from the same gender. Right? So when I'm talking about gender sensitization, I'm not talking about men versus women. No. I am talking about sometimes men versus men also. There is a lot of discrimination that happens among men also. And there is a lot of discrimination that happens among women also. I'll give you one simple example based on the color of my skin. Yes? No? I'm sure we have all had this kind of a feeling that we are being discriminated, or somebody calls us for fun, just for fun, right? Hey Kale, idhar aa. Right? Maybe just for fun, but unfortunately it is a form of discrimination. When you make remarks which are based on any of the physical attributes, that is being insensitive towards the other person. Right? When that is happening, I am not accepting the person for who he or she is. I had a friend, and I'm sure you may also have such a friend, who would walk with the legs on the sides. Okay? And the walk would be funny. And people used to call her penguin. Imagine how much it hurts to be, called a penguin just because she walks with her feet apart. Right? I have come across many girls who, dress up like tomboys, short haircut, right? Jeans, t-shirts, and they do not care about being with guys, right? And I'm sure girls cannot accept such a girl. So they are more with boys. I have come across many such girls. Similarly, many guys have, mannerisms or behaviors which are slightly inclined towards the feminine side. And we start calling names. So gender sensitization is not about men versus women or men, women versus the third gender. But it is about understanding and respecting the person for who or she is, irrespective of the behavior or the physical attributes the person has. That's what this is about. Right? Just because the God or the nature has created you the way everybody else is, does not give you any right to discriminate, make fun of. Please understand what is discrimination. Even when you are making fun of somebody in public, which is sharp, pointed, and hurtful, you are discriminating. Right? Discrimination is not about getting jobs or not getting jobs based on gender or the physical challenges. No, that is the extreme of it. That is the societal extreme of it. But when you are making a friend feel alone, making a person feel alone, alienated, unwanted, unloved, that's also discrimination. Right? The entire effort of gender sensitization is to make people a little more empathetic, a little more sensitive towards the other person and treat that other person as a fellow human being. We treat dogs much better than certain humans. They are animals, right? Then what stops us from treating humans with dignity, with respect, with compassion? That is the entire premise of this so-called gender sensitization training or movement or whatever you want to call it, or the need for it. Right? So if I can't treat the other person as a human being, disregarding everything else, what faith, what color, what caste, what creed, disregard everything else. For me, if that person is not a human being first, then I'm being, inhuman myself. Just because somebody has physical, challenge, whether the sight, smell, color, whatever it could be, right? When we make fun of that, when we make fun of that person because of that, that's discrimination. And it starts as fun. Unfortunately, many parents teach that without realizing that they are sowing the seeds of discrimination either amongst the siblings or within the family members or probably at large in the society. The only hope is that you, as the the young adults who are more aware, thanks to the technology that we have, thanks to the internet, the Instagram, WhatsApp, Facebook, never has been the human connection or the human awareness high. We are aware of what is happening. 2020, the COVID hit. We all remember, right? But this was not the first time that such a epidemic or pandemic had hit this planet. Okay? It happened many times in many years ago as well. But we did not have the kind of connectivity or the communication back then to be aware of such things. But we have now. Hence, your ability to increase or improve your consciousness about yourself, about who you are, about the other person, has never been this high. right? Which means that you have a choice, you have a higher chance of being more compassionate, more humane, more sensible, more empathetic than your brother, sister, or parents. And that is the only goal of this kind of topics. Right? The only goal is that. That's all. Right? Can we look at another human regardless of their physical attributes as a human? That is a question. If we cannot, then what are we for? Why do I call myself a human? That's the only question, anybody would want to ask you. Can you treat me as a fellow human being, disregarding my color, race, gender, or the so-called sexual orientation or whatnot? Can you treat me like a human and not like a animal or a disease? How many people sitting here do not like to be treated with respect or dignity? How many of you sitting here, is okay if others disrespect you and treat you without any dignity of being human or as a slave? We all know the condition of African people, right? Yes, no? So how many of you would love to be treated like that? No one. No one. No one wants to be treated like a slave or a thing. Right? That is what they are asking for. Simple as that. Now, what is it that we are afraid of is a different question altogether. Right? I was not aware that there is a third gender. That's okay, but now it has come to my awareness. What am I going to do about it? I can simply be in denial, or I can accept it and move forward. Right? So, I have been talking about this question itself. Why? What is the need for it? Right? So, look at it from multiple lenses: psychological, social, economical, legal. Right? So when you look at it from all these perspectives, you will find that these people, this community, if we are talking about the third gender or anybody for that matter, can also contribute. Can also contribute to the society, even maybe economically as well. It's only that our biased thinking, my thinking that, what can this person do, is getting into the way of it. Right? But inherently, we do not come from that kind of a background. Please understand that. Okay? So, just to talk about it, UP has become the first state in the nation to recognize and pass an ordinance protecting or recognizing the rights of the third gender people. Did you know that there is an entire police station which is operated by the third genders in UP? Right? No, it's not just about clapping. It's about what we, as the residents of this state, can do about it. What you can do about it. Right? There is a helpline that has been established for the community by Odisha police, right, where they can reach out. And even Government of India is taking initiatives to train them, upskill them, and give them a livelihood. 90 to 95% of transgender community either lives in fear or lives a life of shame. They have very limited options, right? Nobody wants to hire them, so they don't get any jobs. Nobody wants to allow them in the schools, so they don't even have education, at least most of them, right? And many of them resort to begging on the streets, on the roads, or prostitution. These are the limited options they have. And they are forced into it. Right? So that is about the third gender community. But let me come back to the binary gender which you are more comfortable talking about, which is male or a female. How many of you have heard, especially men, this happens with especially men or boys. How many of you have been told, especially when you are in pain or when you are crying, don't cry like a girl? Yes? No? See, that is the unfortunate situation men are in or boys are in, where the only focus for boys is that you have to grow up, be the man of the family, take a job, and take care of, have a family, take a job. That's what you are told to do. And as females, as women, we all know what they are told. Right? So this is the starting ground for the discrimination. And this is where you need to become sensitive about the opposite gender as well. It's not just about myself, it's about the other person as well. In what situation they are in. What are the circumstances? Right? So some of the behaviors which you need to be aware of or are identified as discrimination are comparing yourself with other gender. When people compare you with the other gender, that's one. Fact that you, when I say you, a boy and a girl or a man and a woman are definitely not equal. They are unique and they have their unique abilities. Right? I'm sure there are many feminists sitting here saying you're wrong or things like that, but trust me, there are many situations in which a girl does not want to get into. Right? Physically, these two genders are different. But when you talk about being equal, it cannot happen. Please sensitize yourself against that. Right? Great. So I can leave the rest 15 minutes again open for any questions. None? Okay. Great. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, students, and thank you, sir. Right. Sir, I feel honored and privileged to propose my hearty vote of thanks. On behalf of Mathusri Engineering College, I extend my sincere thanks to the guest speaker, Sri Sudhendra Bagayat Garu. We truly endorse that it's high time for an integral and interdisciplinary approach with special emphasis in the generation of awareness in regard to quality in law and social system. Yes, sir, we acknowledge that gender sensitization is truly being empathetic. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Now you would be having the music club. Vishnu sir will take over you. And during the lunch break, you all have to go to your respective classrooms, and those whose ID cards have not been issued now will come to you to your classrooms and will give you the ID cards. Okay? Please stay there in the hall. And all of you have to give your feedback, ma. We'll be giving you the feedback forms. Submit your feedback forms. Okay?
See, students, all of you stay back here. You have to give feedback forms for all the last day and today's session. Yesterday, 2 sessions, and today's session also you have to give feedback.
All of you have to stay in the hall. Please don't move out. All your attendance is being monitored. Your feedback forms is considered to be an attendance for all of you.
చేపిస్తున్నాం. మరి మీ దాంట్లో ఎవరెవరు ఉన్నారు? ఒక్క నిమిషము. వేరే వాళ్ళు ఉంటే వేరే వీళ్ళని వచ్చి తీసుకెళ్తారు కదా, అందుకొరకని. అంతేనా? ఉన్నారంటే చెప్పండి మరి ఇక్కడ. పైకి రమ్మని చెప్పండి, వాళ్ళని తీసుకొని వెళ్తారు. రైట్. Yes, don't move. Be seated, all of you. Students, give your feedback forms written. And the next session is, and actually sports and music dance club is there. They are going to perform some using the instruments, right? Please, don't shout. And actually, according to schedule, for CSE A, B, C, D, they have sports actually. If they want to go, don't move. PD will come, right, and he will direct to sports. I mean, ground, indoor, stadium, and outdoor. You can play there, right? And those who want to see participate in music and dance, then you stay back here itself, right? Cheppa. Already I announced. Yes, don't leave anybody unless until suppose announcement is made. Don't leave, just. ఏంటి మేడం? చెప్పేసా అప్పుడే అయిపోయింది, స్పోర్ట్స్ ఒక్కటి పోతారు. హలో, రండి మీరు. సిఎస్సిఏ బిసిడిని తీసుకెళ్దాము, కిందికి వెళ్దాము. ఆడ పీడి రెడీగా ఉన్నాడు. అవునా సార్, రండి ఇక్కడ వీళ్ళని తీసుకెళ్ళి వెళ్దాము. సార్ నే పైన ఉన్నారు, థర్డ్ ఫ్లోర్ లో ఉన్నారు. రావాలి, వచ్చి రండి, తీసుకొని వెళ్ళండి తొందరగా, మళ్ళీ కంప్లీట్ చేసుకొని మళ్ళీ ఏదో ఆడినట్లు చేసేస్తే వస్తారు వాళ్ళు. రండి. Yes, come back immediately. PD sir is coming, and instruments. Some people are so bringing instruments also, right? And as usual in the afternoon, so one more important, interesting session. See, a resource person is coming, and he will deliver on art of living, a speech on art of living. It would be very, interesting, right? అరుణ్ సార్. గుడ్ మార్నింగ్ సార్. చెప్పండి సార్. కృష్ణ సార్ చెప్పారా? రండి సార్. మనకు 1:30 వరకు వచ్చేది సార్. అవును సార్, అవును సార్. మనం ఇక్కడ డిస్ప్లే చేస్తాము. ఈ ప్రొఫైల్ అయితే ఇమ్మీడియట్గా కొంచెము మనం ఇక్కడ వేరే ఉంటారో వాళ్ళకి ప్రొఫైల్ రీడింగ్ చేస్తారు కదా, మీరు ఇమ్మీడియట్గా పంపించండి వాట్సాప్ కానీ. ఆర్ట్ ఆఫ్ లేదు, మీ ఇష్టం, మీరు పెట్టమంటే పెడతాం. దాని మీద మనం ఎస్ సార్. నేనేం మెన్షన్ చేశానంటే ఆర్ట్ ఆఫ్ లివింగ్ అని పెట్టాను నేను అంతే. యా యూ సెండ్ ద ప్రొఫైల్ రైట్. ఓకే. ఎవరు? ఏ దాంట్లో? అవును. స్పోర్ట్స్ లేదు కదా వాళ్ళకి. 4 వాళ్ళు వస్తారు ఇక్కడ కూర్చుందాం. ఇక్కడ ఖాళీ ఉంటే కూర్చోబెడదాం. రండి. Yes, students. One coordinator is coming. Mr. I. Upender sir, Assistant Professor of Indian Constitution. He will direct you. He will take you to the grounds. CSE A, B, C, D. Right? ఇంకంతే. సిఎస్ఏడి వాళ్ళే పోతారు ఇంక అంతే. ఇంక మళ్ళీ ఉండమని లేదు అంతే. పోతున్నారు. ఎస్ అవి తీసేసుకోండి. అదే అవి పెట్టేసుకోండి. ఇవి డైరెక్ట్ ఇక్కడ వస్తుంది. వాడుకో. వాళ్ళని అడిగి చెప్పు. వాడుకో. ఇంకా ఎవరు చెప్పారు మీకు తేవద్దని? పవనా పవన్? వాళ్ళ లిఫ్ట్లో ఉన్నా అంటున్నాడు. లిఫ్ట్లో వస్తున్నా అంటున్నాడు. రిమోట్ సార్ వస్తే లైన్ బై లైన్ నేను చెప్పేస్తా. అరే ఇంత మనం ఫోన్ చేసి కూడా 15 minutes అవుతుంది వీళ్ళకి అయితేనంటే.